Hi, I'd like to do a nice quick tutorial on how to get your banner images or your big full bleed images to look great on mobile and desktop in Squarespace. So here I'm in my test page. When I talk about banner images, I talk about this whole section here. So let's add a section. Let's add a blank section. Right, so now we have this section which we can populate with an image. So one way to do it, which I really like, it keeps things simple, is to hit edit section, hit background. Let's go ahead and add an image. Let's browse the stock image library. And we're looking at this pretty cool image here with a person staring out into this landscape. So by choosing the background image, this will give you a full bleed edge-to-edge image in this setting, so you can also adjust it here within these settings in the design. So let's go ahead and play with this. So let me show you the two different ways to do this. So now we can pull this down, and one really important factor is to consider this little dots, the focal point. So this will actually tell you where to put it in mobile, with the focal point on mobile. So you go here, see that mobile image, that looks pretty good, but you can adjust that too by telling Squarespace that you want that to focus right in the middle of her back. Let's go here and we'll see that pulls it up a little bit here. Okay, so now we have this way to do it, and what we're going to do is we can add blocks. We can put some overlay on this. So let's go and make this background black, give it some overlay. That way it makes the text more readable. So we grab a text block. I always just first type in welcome to our business. Okay, so let's make this a H1 font. Let's open that up. Open up that block a little bit, and then let's center it. All right, and now we can welcome to our business. All right, play around with that. Let's add a call to action here. Book consultation. All right, and let's make sure that links to my contact page or wherever you want it to go. All right, and let's open that up a little bit here. So now we have book consultation. So let's take a look at that in mobile, and that's obviously off. So Fluid Engine, you have to adjust it for mobile. Maybe we'll push that up a little bit. All right, great. All right, that's one way to do it. And then some people may have art or perhaps a building that they don't want this responsive design to scale down like this. They want to keep the same width. So I'm going to show you how to do that too. So let's open that up, and we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to actually add an image block, and we're going to stretch it in the span, and so we have more control on how it renders, right? So actually, let me close this cookie notification. So one thing I want to go over real quick is you can go in here and you can adjust the height of this whole section. You can pull it up and down. You can make the context flush up or down. I have it centered, and then you can really play with that here. So let's just go ahead, get out of that, and we're going to do it a different way that allows you to keep the same proportions in mobile too. And so let's just take this out. Let's go here. Let's remove that background image, and we're going to recreate a background image, but as a solid image block. So we're going to go in here. Let's grab that one for our library. All right, that'll load. And let's go ahead and click on the edit. So it fills this container. All right, and now we're going to take that and we're going to stretch this across the span of that section. Let's push that forward. So that make sure that push that forward, and also push this forward too. All right, and now we're going to grab this and we're going to pull this. And the reason I'm doing it this way is in case you want to keep that same proportion in mobile, right? So you're going to go here and you're going to go here and just pull it here. And you'll see when it starts to stretch out, that means it's out of the original aspect ratio. So you just want to pull it to where it stops stretching. Grab that here and push that backwards. And then we're going to pull that up here. So now we have this aspect ratio. I'm going to pull this up here. And you're going to say, Lee, how do we get rid of these black spaces? So we're going to just decrease the height of that section. And we're going to go here. And we're going to go into design. I'm sorry, we're in the wrong block. Not in the block, but the section. And we're going to decrease that height. All right, we're going to make that. Actually, we're going to pull it all the way down. We're going to make that to 0. Going to manually override that. So now we have this whole section here that you can see fits the original aspect ratio of the image. And that's really good for, like I said, art, or if you have a building that you design, or you just want to keep that same aspect ratio, right? So we're going to go back here and we're going to look at the same thing. So this has the original image. So we're going to pull that out. Like I mentioned, we can adjust that here. So, and it looks like we need to push this back to show that button, right? All right, now we see this original aspect ratio. So it moves around quite a lot, but you see that image is here. Or we can just pull this up a little bit here. And we just have a lot more control on how this image will show. All right, so now we have a different way to do this. I actually don't want it to be this tall, but you can see that's another way to do it. And maybe we'll just change the focal point of this image here, right? All right, let's hit save. This doesn't look too great to me, so I'm going to futz with it a little bit. I'm going to just pull this up. I don't want this section to be this tall on desktop. And I'll pull that up. I think that looks a lot better. Okay, but at least in mobile, you should have that same aspect ratio. I think this needs a little bit more room, just based on the design. There we go. All right.